believe in equality, we believe in accessibility, and I think we link the two very well by using a good platform that is encouraging people to read, and that is an application that we have on a device, on smartphones, that is actually a library, and that's why we call it Libraryforall, because our biggest drive is to make sure that everybody who wants to read is able to, and everybody who doesn't want to read wants to, because our coolest application. And we've been in this since 2015 as an organization. We were launched in 2015, and that's when we started interacting with different activities that were going around reading. Now, a few things that I've been able to find in my few months of working with Libraryforall is that we are lacking, in Rwanda, we're lacking content that is suitable. And that has driven us to create few of our platforms around creating writers, encouraging writers, and working with local publishing houses and making sure that they have good content, and we're working with them to make that happen. We carry writers' workshop to facilitate the content creation. At the same time, I was also give it accessibility on our digital platform. So the Rwandan culture isn't necessarily a reading culture, it's more oral. That's how we've been able to tell our stories. And because of that, the reading perspective has been kind of slacking behind. But in this revolution, technology revolution coming out, we're believing that this will come hand at hand with other ways that we're trying to push to make sure that we're increasing readership in Rwanda.
Definitely very interesting insights there, but one thing that comes to mind when you say an app is the number of people that are using smartphones in, say, Rwanda, because I don't think it's very much so far. I mean, the numbers would tell. But then getting back to the idea of reading itself, like even those that have the smartphones, at least you'd find that they use up to like 10% of the items on the phone. So what makes you feel like instead of reading a paperback book, which is also meager numbers, statistics show, why would someone opt out now to actually have the book on an app? I mean,
yeah, so convenience is really, really important in this, and it's also affordability. When you look at, for example, as an organization, you look at how many times you have to go look for paper to print a book, or if you look at buying a book that is physical, it's difficult. And also we can't deny the fact that
buying a book that is physical is difficult because of the payment procedures.
The payment is expensive. It's most of the time digital copies are going to be a little bit more cheaper and affordable. But even beyond that, we're also looking at many other different things. For example, in talking about local perspective in Rwanda, we have about 1.5 million, close to approximately 1.5 million smartphone penetration rate. And we are talking of that being an option for every single cell phone having a library. For sure, that's a bigger number than the libraries that we have here. If you go in high schools, most of high schools will not have they will have a library to help around, but the content in the library is going to be very, very limited. So we are not coming to say, get out a physical book. We're saying we are supporting,
incorporating the digital library, the formal library that is being
around. And as we also do that, we're trying to say, hey, look, there's a lot to care about. There's environment to care about. Those papers could be saved, right? There's a lot to really care about in terms of bringing out our narrative around, how to use just digital libraries. It's not to say, get out of the physical and paper books. We're saying, hey, if you want to read, you are in a car, your book is at home. You and your wife and your kid can read one book. And that has not
Amos, with that in mind, just tell me, you've been here since 2015 as Libraryforall. How many schools maybe have you been able to reach out to ensure that they can incorporate this digital library that you're talking about with the physical paperback library style so far?
So we've been running campaigns, and campaigns are aiming to reach a big number of people using our platform. And in the numbers, for now, I don't have a number to say, 100 schools, because we haven't been going to a school and counting. We've been more like on a media, more awareness campaign, making sure that people understand that. And then sooner we're going to be now more, focused on going into this. We have a few campaigns coming up that are going to involve schools that are going to be helping them to get on the platform. But for now, our strategy has been around really creating awareness of reading, because I've done a few tours in schools, in universities. I've been to 3 universities in Rwanda already, and that I'm not meaning talking to the university. I've had to be there physically a week trying to explain this process. And that's when you realize that most people in universities and schools here read for exams.
They always say one word to a wise man is enough. You've been to universities for a very good week, and maybe different institutions. So far, 3 years down the road, have you been able to map out the effect, the impact that Library for All has had so far? Definitely.
There has been really, really a lot of impact. One, coming from our titles that we have on the platform. So this person looking for a book and finally finding it. We've worked with people who are trying to create content. We've worked with few publishing houses to create local content. We actually have a project in process coming out, bringing out our first book together with the one publishing house here in Rwanda.